Worst weekend of my life. I read a short story recently and the ending upset me. Upset because it wasn't complete. It is a story about a cuckold where there was a lot of violence and humiliation of the man I love. I am compelled to read them and even start writing them, but I always wait and enjoy the moment when the guy grows up and stands up for his manhood. Why guys do this is a mystery to me. I can't imagine sharing my wife with anyone. Well, maybe with another woman, but that's just a fantasy. I want her to be the only one. My wife. Well, I don't understand those who share and those who enjoy the humiliation of having their wife with another man, even if it's just a game. The best? Isn't it? I guess I thought when she said, "I love," it meant game over. She found her best, and he found his. End of story. I understand but don't condone the morality of flirting, excessive alcohol consumption, the need for release during long separations, even the get a little piece of what you can't get at home attitude. I understand open relationships and polyamory, but I don't understand how you can humiliate a guy when you abuse him, subject him to low slavery and force him to serve as a janitor, and then witness his beloved wife giving herself to another man, while not hesitating to tell her husband that he can never do for her what her stud can do. And then saying afterward, "But I do love you." The story I read was both bitter and heartless. Thankfully, it ended before our intrepid hero got a taste of his rival, but was very close to it. So I'm going to write the next chapter in the spirit of finish the damn story. But first, I apologize to the author and to the reader. This is a story I read 2 weeks ago. My weak memory doesn't cling to names and titles as much as it used to. Nevertheless, the incompleteness of the story was so annoying that I was forced to write another chapter. So before I get to the ending, I'll summarize. If you recognize this story, or if you are the author, please send me the title or author's name so I can repost it with permission and thanks. Or without permission, I could delete the story. With this ending, I like this story. I may even keep the characters and release another episode or two, depending on reasonable feedback. First, a synopsis of the original story. Stop me if you've heard it before. Our story begins with friends from childhood growing up, falling for each other, dating, and eventually giving their virginity to each other as high school sweethearts. After they started making love, she started cheating, and when she was discovered, she felt terrible and told him everything, which led to his forgiveness and amazing love. They attend different colleges where she remains sexually active, but only tells him everything when they are together, which, because he is in a very strict program, rarely happens. On those occasions, she teases him with details, and this practice makes their love during visits and vacations even more intense. However, she doesn't just tease him, but clings to him, apologizes, and confesses that she loves him more than anything in the world. You guessed it, her love affair with the other guy is just for once. Their relationship takes a turn at the climax of the story when he comes to visit her at college. She casually mentions that she has been unfaithful again, but this time invites her lover to meet him. This doesn't cause him the usual excitement. Instead, he feels a great deal of anxiety. Not only is he meeting her bull, but he is forced to spend time visiting with him, whereas it was supposed to be precious time together with the love of his life. The bull is beautiful. The bull is not nice to him. The bull kisses his girlfriend passionately and then tells her to get rid of her lover. She asks her hometown sweetheart to go get a pizza, and later she says she'll take care of it. When he returns with dinner, her door is locked and he is left outside. His knock is not answered except for a giggle, and subsequent noises let him know exactly what he's missing. Finally, the door unlocks and she calls him into the bedroom. They're lying in bed, her breasts exposed and his hand obviously still working on her under the sheets. She asks him to bring pizza as they are hungry. Confused and amazed at this treatment, he brings the pizza and 3 plates. She looks at him in surprise and tells him that he can't eat with them and to take the 3rd plate to the kitchen and leave the pizza. While he does this, the door is locked again and she and her bull start another passionate and noisy session. Later, the door opens again. This time he bursts into the room where he is greeted by a grinning bull and a giggling lover. The pizza is gone. They openly laugh at him, at the fact that he is courting a girl who is sleeping with another man, and he can't even eat some of the food he brought. Here she pities him, telling him to lie down and she'll give him something to eat. He does so, and she hovers over his face, ready to sit down and make him eat the dripping cream pie in front of her laughing bull. End of story. Really? This story had so many ways to unfold, but there's no plot twist, no excitement. Everything just suddenly stopped. That doesn't work for me, so let's get started. I'll call the characters Kirk and Sally, and Bull, well, let's just call him Bill. Bill is the bull. Kirk is the licker, and Sally is the cheater. The original story was written in Kirk's name, and I'm okay with that. You know those moments when time slows down and you can just see what's right and what's wrong? Those moments when you just know what needs to be done. For me, that was the mother of all time-slowing moments. I looked at the cheating wife. She was once gorgeous because I loved that woman. Once loved because in that moment it became finally clear how foolish I had been to love her with such intensity. In that moment, I realized that Sally was not the love of my life, but only the love of my life up to that point. And she had only been the love of my life up to that point because she had the monopoly. We grew up together. We learned to love together. We relied on each other for everything, which meant that neither of us had an experience superior to the other. That was the theory. She had clearly expanded her circle of lovers. I foolishly remained faithful to her. To her? No, just faithful in the hope that I could keep my pure love for my beloved for life. How did I know she was my soulmate, my one and only? I didn't compare her to anyone else. Apparently, I'm not good enough to keep her loyal to me. Obviously, she doesn't love me enough for me to be her one and only. And what she's about to do means she doesn't even respect me enough to honor me before another lover. So how will she honor me in marriage? In the midst of our children? How will I be able to be sure that she actually had children with me and not the offspring of an illicit affair? Burst that bubble. She squatted down and began to lower herself to my face as the blob grew larger, ready to flood my mouth. My hands ended up right on her ass, and with a roar I pushed her off me with enough force to throw her off the bed. It wasn't easy for her to land, and she stretched out on the floor at the foot of the bed. I could hear the air rushing out of her lungs as I sat up, and soon she was exhausted and struggling to catch air. Bill did nothing, and I stood up, adjusted my shirt, and walked out. Grabbed my bag from the living room and left. As I reached the porch, I felt bile rising in my throat and I threw up. All I could see was a cream pie pouring into Sally's cheating mouth, and she put it down to force-feed me. Feeling better? The voice came from behind me, where a rather plain girl with brown hair was sitting on a porch swing reading, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there, or I would have at least tried to go around the corner so you wouldn't see it." "It's okay. I understand." I looked at her curiously. "Sally's bedroom window is open. I heard the whole thing. I'd feel bad, too. They're laughing at you, you know that." "They sure are. How much did you hear?" "It's a beautiful evening. I don't have a date. I've been reading here for a couple hours. You came to visit. She made you spend time with her and Bill, sent you out to get food. They made love. She made you serve her while she and her sweetheart were probably naked. They sent you away and went about their business. You came back and she offered to feed you, but you thought instead of food, she meant lick her. Did I get that right?" I didn't have to answer. She knew it, and I knew she knew it. "You're Kirk, right?" I nodded. "I'm Diana, Sally's upstairs neighbor. You know, she's been telling us about you. Let me see. You're the perfect husband. You're in medical school and you're planning on being a surgeon, so you'd be a good provider. You play the piano and like to draw, so you're not just some one-dimensional armchair quarterback. You're hard-working and gentle, so you'll be a good father. You love her enough to do anything for her, so she's trained you to let her have buddies while you stay true to her. She told us that you're both following your life plan. How right am I?" "Did she share that with you?" "She shares it with everyone. Also says you are a great lover, and that she actually loves you. She just needs more than one guy. That's why she's preparing you to embrace her planned lifestyle." I could barely contain myself. I just couldn't believe she had such a low opinion of me. "I guess you didn't know about the puppet part of the plan." "Oh, don't worry about it. I know it hurts. It has to hurt. But aren't you glad you know that now?" "Why are you telling me this?" "There's something she said about you that intrigued me, that you love her so much that you'd do anything for her. Is that true?" A dozen instances flashed through my mind. I gave my jacket at a friend's wedding reception when it got cold, and her light dress wasn't up to the task. Gave her my umbrella when it was pouring rain. I was working part-time to send her money for college. Yeah, until tonight. That sounds familiar. Kirk, I've been where you are now. Freshman year, I was popular. I dressed stylishly, styled my hair, wore contacts and makeup, and knew how to tease guys. I did it well and often, so they would do anything for me. They brought me flowers, wine, took me on dates and fancy dinners. Eventually, I started making love to them. One of them really got my attention, said how good we were together and that we had a future together. One night near the end of the year, he asked if I wanted to do something special. I loved him, so I said, anything. I would do anything for him. I thought it would be something special for the two of us. Something memorable and romantic. Maybe there would be a ring at the end. And there was a ring from his friends, me naked in the center. I lay stunned, bruised, and bloody. One by one, the guys left, laughing at the stupid fool who thought her boyfriend could love a girl who let anyone use her. All this time, he was using me. I didn't even see him leave. I got dressed, went home, and cleaned up. I ended that year hiding in the library. The next year, I came back with no stylish clothes, long plain hair, glasses, and no hint of makeup. I burrowed into my books. In mid-year, I met Sally in English class, and she brought me out of my social hibernation. Introduced me to a few cute boys, which meant they were just politely trying to get into my pants. I liked love, but I didn't like any of them. She said, I need a guy like you, a guy who would love me no matter what and would do anything for me. But I never found a guy who would do anything but try to use me. They all said I was sexually experienced. They said I should dress better, that if I tried harder, I could be pretty. None of them made me feel right. And Sally went on and on about you, making love to every guy in sight. I'd never met you, but you'd become my dream guy, my fantasy. And suddenly, here you are. She just put everything on the line, and you rejected her. She's gonna come looking for you and try to make up with you, you know. Promises to be nice and be your one and only. But as soon as you feel safe and confident in her, she'll leave. You know that. So tonight, before she comes back to you, try someone else. Try me. No doubt I was horny. No doubt after all the stories Sally had told me about her adventures in betrayal, I was excited to try something new myself. And I was excited. I could tell that underneath that simple facade of Jane in a boring sweatshirt and baggy jeans, this girl had a figure to fantasize about. I'm sorry, but sweatshirts are the only way to go. Did I mention I was horny? I'd been waiting for weeks to come here and make love to Sally, but horny wasn't a strong enough word. I was more than horny. Are you hungry? Oh, yeah, that too. I skipped lunch to catch the bus, and they denied me my share of the pizza I brought, and what was left of breakfast I just threw in the bushes. I wanted to eat. Come on, let's go. I know a good place. Good burgers, about 50 beers on tap, and there's an open mic tonight. It's time for you to enjoy your date without Sally. It's time for me to see what it's like to be with a guy who can love a woman enough to do anything for her. We're off. She was delightful company, and by the time we were served hamburgers, we were joking and laughing and not even thinking about Sally. Somewhere between the fries and coleslaw, people started singing at the open mic. Some were great, some were so-so, and our conversation turned to the music. I criticized one guy, and she suggested I do a better performance. So I signed up on the speaker list and ordered another beer. Remember when I told you I was sending Sally money from my part-time job? Well, the job was lucrative. Twice a week, I only spent 3 hours playing piano at a cocktail bar near campus. Hey, it was cheesy, but anything was better than paying tuition and cleaner than mowing lawns. I developed some fans because my repertoire consisted of love songs and bitter, somebody did somebody wrong type songs. Inevitably, when it was my turn, someone recognized me. And by popular demand, much to Diana's delight, I spent an hour on stage. We left the venue in the early morning hours. As we were walking out the door, I gave her a hug and she snuggled up to me. Hey, check your cell phone. There were 32 missed calls from Sally. Diane turned me around to face her and looked me straight in the eyes. You'd spend all night servicing her and her boyfriend in the pathetic hope that you could get sloppy seconds or get third while they laughed at you. Now end your night the right way. Become free and spend this night with me. She kissed me. Her tongue wrestled with mine and our lips locked together until suddenly she broke our embrace and rushed off, running towards her apartment. I followed at her heels and watched as she shed her clothes. I stopped to pick her up, which slowed me down enough to let her run away. Smart girl. First, her dirty sweatshirt lay on the porch, then the t-shirt that was underneath, and finally the little white lace bra. I managed to grab it and slip through the door before it closed, and I heard her rushing up the stairs at the top of the stairs. I was about to turn the corner when her jeans whizzed past. I went downstairs to retrieve them, and on my way upstairs I came across her panties flying right into my face. I froze, inhaling the intoxicating scent of very wet lace, and heard the key turn, the door open, and her footsteps slip into the apartment. I backed up and disappeared through her door just as I heard Sally's voice from the door one floor below, grumbling about everyone running around so late at night. I rushed to Diana's bedroom where she lay naked with her arms spread. Forget about Sally, or better yet, don't. I'm noisy when I make love, windows open, and if she thinks it's going on, let's give her something serious to grumble about. Now take me. As I laid out her clothes, she continued to comfort herself with her hands. By the time I started undressing, she was moaning quite loudly. I know it's been months for you. Don't worry about me the first time, I'll be fine. We'll make love later. Just stand here and take me as hard as you can, right now. No reason to keep the lady waiting. She's right. She's not quiet and inconspicuous, and the windows are open. I could hear the echoes bouncing off the walls of the neighboring buildings. Dogs barked in the back neighborhoods. Air raid sirens wailed and searchlights lit up the sky looking for enemy planes. Okay, the last two statements are slightly exaggerated, but I have no doubt that we shared our sexcapade with all of Diane's neighbors who were still awake. And I also knew that Sally lived one floor below, and her comment about our mess in the stairwell was clearly an indication that she was quite awake. What was that stupid girlfriend of yours thinking, making love behind your back? She's so damn lucky to have you. No! Don't stop! Don't ever stop loving me! Meh turned into a scream of passion. But it wasn't over yet. I told you I was a virgin and my only love was Sally, but I didn't tell you I had a small, nor did I tell you that I was incapable of sustained intercourse. That's why I was so puzzled by Sally's behavior. I mean, what else did she want? I never let her down. I was adventurous, willing to try anything she wanted, but she wanted another guy. Oh boy. I even heard Sally yelling from her window downstairs. Oh my God, Diane! Finally, after what seemed like long hours, but was probably just 1 hour, we collapsed and fell asleep. We didn't wake up until a half hour or so later and started again. This time slowly and gently. Lovingly. Gently. And she was still screaming. She screamed most of the night, and the last time was Saturday morning when the sun came up. We slept until 2 o'clock. You were so good last night. Amazing. I have no idea what Sally's thinking. I slept with Billy. You're gifted. You're as good as a rabbit, and you're attentive. Hell, I thought you could read my mind. As soon as I want something, you give it to me. I smiled and kissed her. Didn't say a word. We took a shower. Soap is fun when you share it with a sexy girl. After lunch, we walked around and talked. She was planning to go to law school and was avoiding a serious relationship because she was afraid the long hours in law school and starting a practice at the same time would be too hard. I'm planning to go to medical school myself, and what she says makes sense. Perhaps this weekend was for the best in many ways. Have you checked your cell phone lately? I haven't. There were 84 missed calls, all from Sally. I was tempted to call her, and my finger hovered over the button to call her back. And then I realized that if I really wanted to talk to her, I wouldn't delay. I opened the texting window and deleted all 84. I went back to the list of recent calls, selected her number, and blocked it. Good job, Diana whispered. You'll be able to forgive her someday, maybe even get back together with her. But what she did last night was wrong, over the top. Let her be alone for a while without you. Now what are we going to do about dinner? It's simple. I cook for you. He's cooking. Shit. Careful, Romeo. I might waive my no relationships rule and take you back to my place and chain you to a pole. To the post, yes. Okay, no complaints after last night, but one question. Okay, go ahead. If I'm chained to a post, how am I supposed to cook dinner? On a long chain. We did the shopping and went back to her house. I cooked. I know Sally can recognize smells. I wanted her to recognize them at all. She loved my cooking, and dinner at a restaurant had been a favorite date night for a long time. What else could she do without? I decided Diana was right. I had to move on. If Sally seriously loves me, let her take steps to fix what she's broken. In the meantime, it's a good time in my life. I'm single. Diana set the table on her small terrace. While there, I heard Sally call out to her. Hey girl, looks like it was hot last night. Who's the lucky guy? Nobody special. I met him last night. He just stopped by for the weekend, but his friends kind of dumped him and he was alone. So we went out tonight and he stayed over. He even made me dinner. Honey, he didn't just make you dinner. Last night he cooked you whole, as hot as that sounds. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I got carried away. He was so good. He's so big compared to the other guys here, and he just never stops. I think I've really reached a coma. Dinner smells good. What did he make? Hey, D, last night was fun. Yeah, that guy was so good. Where'd you find him? It was another neighbor who came out onto their patio and joined the conversation. Hey, Audrey, I just met him last night. He was wandering around alone, a little depressed. So I invited him over for pizza. He brought some for his friends, and they left him, but they took the pizza. We went to an open mic night. I didn't realize he was so good. You did? My friend said he's an up-and-coming trendy indie singer, songwriter, and he's doing pretty well in Baltimore. He sings a mix of ballads with very raw lyrics and songs about lost love. Something between Tom Waits and Leonard Cohen, but with a better beat. Danny is a real fan, and he was so excited when the presenter announced that Martin Kirk was playing. This was a moment Sally didn't miss. Suddenly, everything fell into place. Kirk's middle name was Martin. He played the piano, but she had never heard him sing or perform publicly. In the 4 years they'd been in college, she'd been pretty busy with her own adventures. There was a lot going on that he didn't know about since she hadn't told him. Perhaps he, too, was doing things she didn't know about. Like a music career? That didn't sound like Kirk. But Martin Kirk? There were other coincidences that Sally couldn't ignore. First, the fact that Diana had met him last night after he'd been dumped by his friends. Then the fact that he hadn't returned her calls. He always returned her calls, always wanting to know about her adventures. Her lovers had never met Kirk, at least not before Billy. Part of their ability to humiliate Kirk was due to their belief that they were superior lovers, and Kirk had an insignificant sausage of man meat. The truth, however, was that Kirk was as built as a Greek god, if not better. She'd never seen a Greek statue. If Kirk ever realized that she craved him so much and that she was only talking about him to keep him under her control, it could all be over. Then her greatest nightmare came to her. The memory of hearing screams all night long flashed through her brain. Was he really the one who had been dragging Diana away all night? She was sure it was, and Diana wasn't the kind of person who would stall telling Kirk what he really looked like. By now, he'd probably know the truth. He's a stud, and being horned and humiliated by her over the years was something he didn't have to willingly accept. Diane, I want to meet this guy of yours. Diane looked over the railing at Sally. She smiled but said nothing. Diana, don't play games with me. I want to meet him. Tell him to come out here. There's no need to meet him, Sally. You already know him. In fact, you set him up by dumping him last night. He doesn't really want to talk. But, just for the sake of the neighborhood, I'll let him know you're here and that you want to see him. Wait. She disappeared from Sally's sight. She came over to me, pulled down her pants, and leaned over the table. She didn't have to ask me twice. In fact, she didn't even ask me. Damn it, Kirk, you can't do this, I whispered to Diana. Yes, I can. Again and again, all night long. And we did. Of course, Sally kept calling from her terrace. She even came and pounded on the door until the other tenants chased her away. She called Diane's apartment and used both the landline and Bill's cell phone trying to get around my phone's blocking. Shortly after midnight, her attempts stopped. Mine didn't. All night long, I punished Diane over and over again. We never ate dinner, but it sure smelled good. The next day, Diane walked me to the bus. We saw Sally waiting at the bus stop just as she spotted us a block away. Diane turned me to face her and kissed me deeply. Don't get sentimental. You're a great guy, and I've never felt so fulfilled or even loved. But I don't love you as a husband's wife. I'm too selfish right now. I think you should be more selfish, too. You're fantastic, Kirk. Go out and play the field some more. Sally should be sure of that. And if you're around, let me know. Tell me, where are you planning on going to medical school? I'm going to stay in Baltimore at Hopkins. I like it there. Hopkins, huh? I hear they have a law school, too. She gave me a quick kiss and a wink before turning and walking away. I turned around, too, and walked straight to my bus where Sally was waiting for me. So I've messed us up, huh? No, you probably just got us right. You were probably right to go out and sleep with other guys. You know, to compare. Yeah, but the problem is no one compares to you. You were all I had. Now you're on the free market. I know it's selfish, but I wanted comparisons without the risk of you comparing, too. I put my suitcase in the luggage compartment under the bus. Well, Sally, you have all the time in the world to analyze what went right and what went wrong. I don't care. All I know is that I came here to spend the weekend with the woman I adore, only to be told for the umpteenth time that my place in bed was taken by someone else. Then I had to not only meet him, but share our time with him. And after having to give up my share of that time to go get pizza for you both, which I had to serve you in bed, only to have you locked up again so you could be alone with your lover, then I avoided trying to force-feed me his cream pie. These are all signs of the worst weekend of my life. Hell, they were all signs of hell. I can't understand why you did this to me. No, don't answer that. I don't care. It's enough just to know that you tried to do that to me. Luckily, Diana pulled me out of the trash heap, and I had a great time with her. And now I have to go. I walked up to the driver and handed him my ticket. What's happening to us now? Where are we? I assume by us you mean you and Billy, and that's up to you and Billy. You know I mean you and me. I know exactly what you mean, but Sally, there's no you and me except in history. So there you go. Go enjoy your boys. You don't need me. Kirk, I need you. Can I come to you? Can I try to make things right? Of course. Will you give me a second chance? I mean, we had a lot of good years together. Sally, I need you to understand. I'm in a lot of pain. I just got over losing you. So this is a very bad time to ask me that. Maybe with some time and distance I can heal. I guess anything can happen, but don't try to play the history card with me. I turned to get on the bus. No kiss goodbye? No. I only had one, and I gave it to Diana. I didn't look back. Why bother? I climbed onto the bus and found a seat on the other side, feeling the need to get as far away from Sally as possible, as soon as possible. My future had always been clear, but suddenly I lost direction. I saw myself in the yard behind the white fence, but the woman who was there with me and the children in that dream had always been Sally. Now the wife from my dream was faceless and unknown. I knew Diane had become a worthy adventure. As the bus filled up, I fantasized about being with all the sexy pretty girls in college that I had previously considered unavailable. The prospect of being free and liberated excited me. Then a she slid into the seat next to me. A pretty girl in pink with a skirt that did little to hide legs as long as eternity, she turned toward me, and before me was a view of the most amazing canyon of cleavage I'd ever seen. Hi, I'm Karen. Do you mind if I sit with you? I don't want to be stuck for the next 4 hours with some fat old fart. No, you don't. I'm Kirk, 4 hours. You're going to Baltimore, too? Yeah. Kirk, huh? You know, I've never met a guy named Kirk before, but I know a singer, and that's his name. Martin Kirk. I've seen him twice, but I've never been able to get close. I like his songs so much that I swore to all my girlfriends that if I was ever lucky enough to meet him, I would stupidly sleep with him. I know it's stupid to fall in love with a guy you've never even met, but he's so sexy and his music... Ah, it's amazing. The sound of his voice makes me wet. I shouldn't be telling you this, me being a complete stranger and all, but... I smiled. This looks like it's going to be fun, albeit a little too easy. The end!